Former President Trump publishing an op-ed in the Washington Times today. Here's what it says. I built the wall. Biden built a humanitarian catastrophe. Trump says Biden enacted the most radical open borders agenda imaginable. His op-ed comes as the Biden administration is trying to bring back deported migrants. This is according to the pro-immigration website, The Marshall Project. One Biden official told the group, quote, "We're eager to bring people back who shouldn't have been removed in the first place." And then there's this. Panama's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Erika Moñez, issued this warning about open border policies. Quote, members of terrorist organizations and sanctioned parties have found their way into Panama. She says the country has recognized and detained individuals linked to extremist groups attempting to pass through that country with migrants. Some of those folks eventually making their way up to the U.S.-Mexico border. Joining us now to talk more about this, the host of the Matt Walsh Show on the Daily Wire, Matt Walsh. Matt, great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's compare and contrast a couple of border visits. Donald Trump actually on the border, Kamala Harris not really too close to the border, just doing that, checking the boxes there. But when you hear about the real, concrete issue of this border crisis, you got terrorist elements, according to the Panamanian foreign minister. You got all these problems, especially with kids and coyotes and drugs coming across the border. I mean, how much longer can Kamala Harris and Joe Biden focus on things like climate change when this is the most emerging problem, most immediate problem right now?
Oh, they could forever. They could continue focusing on those things because they can't. That's why she's not going down to the border, because she would have to face these problems head on and then go back and tell everyone that everything's fine. This is an issue that, I mean, look, this is obviously one of the most fundamental issues for a country. I think it's obvious maybe to us, but not to other Americans, especially ones that vote Democrat, that if you're going to have a country, it means that you need to have a border, obviously. And if you want to protect the identity of your country, you need to protect that border. Every other country, or most anyway, in the world do it, and we have the right to do that as well. I guess I differ a little bit from other conservatives where I don't really care. It's always fun to catch Kamala Harris in a gotcha moment, especially when it makes her cackle like a hyena. But I don't really care if she goes down and looks at the border physically or not. I don't care who goes on a publicity tour of the border. That to me is not the issue at all. What I care about is, are you making the effort to protect the border and protect our national sovereignty? And whether she goes and looks at it or not, we know that she and Biden are not doing that.
Yeah, that's why we like to have you on the show, Matt, because you don't, follow the orthodoxy of every conservative. You do have some differing opinions, and we welcome that here. I think for a lot of the American public, they see through it as well, but they also want to know that if it's not Kamala Harris, at least the president has, his eyes on the problem, or somebody that they trust, or somebody that they actually think is working on the problem. But when you have Alejandro Mayorkas basically saying that they want to welcome back illegal migrants that should not have been kicked out of the country in the first place, that's certainly not the impression that they're giving to people who care about this country and want to make sure that it has actual borders. That's what defines a country to a lot of us.
Right, that's what defines a country, period. Whether it defines it to us or not, that is obviously one of the most literally defining things about a country is the line that you can draw to distinguish it from the countries that surround it. And yeah, that's why I guess one of my hesitations with she needs to go tour the border or look at the border is, well, if she goes and does that, right, then she could just say, well, see, I did it, problem solved. No, the problem hasn't been addressed at all. You need to actually protect the border, which we know the Democrats aren't ever going to do.
Yeah, no, it doesn't certainly seem to be like a priority. Like as we talked about just a second ago, their infrastructure push, and of course they want to tie everything to infrastructure, call everything infrastructure. Joe Biden trying to promote this $1 trillion infrastructure plan, but of course he's also getting ice cream, as one tends to do, and he's whispering again, kind of creepy. Check it out.
And people say, well, that's a giveaway. Hey guys, I think it's time to give ordinary people a tax break. The wealthy are doing fine. I mean it. I mean it. Why is this not a tax break for working folks?
And of course, without the cross shot, we don't know who's applauding there, Matt. It might be the press corps for all we know.
I'm sure they're in the applause section. I mean, when you see Biden doing the whisper thing or whatever weird thing he comes up with next, we can kind of laugh about it, but there is also the really disturbing and not very funny at all reality, which is that we have a president who is in the process of losing his mental faculties, which is something that will happen to everybody if they live long enough. And this is what happens when you hire a guy who's 78 to do the job. I mean, you could go back, and I've never been a fan of Biden, but I can admit, you go back even 10 years ago, and you watch Biden in a debate, or you see him, speaking to a crowd, and you really see the difference. He used to actually be a talented public speaker, I think, really on the ball, and the difference is stark. Mm-hmm. And this is why, and I say this personally, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, you get to a point, there's a reality in the fact that we are mortal beings, and one of them is that we start to lose those faculties, physical and mental, and so we should just not be hiring people who are that old to do that job, in my opinion.
No, I think you're right, and I think this transcends politics to a certain extent. If you've ever had a loved one that you've watched suffered from mental loss as they age, there's a certain reminder of that when you watch Joe Biden out there, and you kind of wince every time you see it. And the other thing too, we talked about this yesterday, a new McLaughlin poll. We had Jim on yesterday, and it said something like 60% of the American public doesn't think that Joe Biden is going to finish his first term. I mean, that's astounding. Here's something you tweeted as well. I wanted to talk about this issue of the woke military now and all this pride and, critical race theory stuff going on. According to the State Department, they're announcing a major policy or passport policy change. Applicants will now be able to select their gender without supplying any government documents to back that up. And this is something you tweeted here. A woman whose husband is active duty Navy sent me this. It's a command. His command had a diversity hike in honor of Pride Month. Attendance was mandatory. They hiked while waving a rainbow American flag. I mean, we've talked about the priorities in the military right now. We're watching this Afghanistan invasion go horribly wrong. There's all kinds of other problems, and this is what our military is focused on. This is what the State Department is a priority to them.
Yeah, and this event, this quote unquote diversity hike in honor of Pride Month, we know for a fact that happened. The claim that it was mandatory, that's what the woman told me, and I have no reason to think otherwise. Or it could have been one of those things where we're not telling you it's mandatory, but really it is. You need to show up. Either way, the fact that this is being put on at all is very disturbing. And that flag, call me old-fashioned, but I don't think that our military, in any capacity, whether unofficially or officially, whether it's a diversity hike or anything, should ever be in any way walking under or marching under any flag other than the American flag. And what we've taken here is we've taken an American flag and LGBTified it and turned it into a rainbow flag. I find that alone to be really distressing and outrageous. But there are so many examples of this kind of thing with the military now that even this one example, which maybe like 10 years ago if this had happened, it would have been a big controversy. But now we just move on to the next thing because there's so many examples. You don't even know where to focus anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're a member of the military, like Commander Lohmeyer, and you raise the issue, it concerns you. You're worried about getting kicked out of the military. That's what happened to him. All right, Matt, great to see you. A lot of folks can tune in and catch you at 2 o'clock every day on the Daily Wire. And we love talking to you, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.